Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to another Good Morning Grief devotional. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr. We're so happy and excited to have this time and this opportunity to come to you on this morning, this Wednesday, July 5th. Hope you were able to chill and rest and enjoy your day yesterday. For many of us, we're back on the grind today, making it happen. And so we are excited to be here and excited about this opportunity that God has afforded us to gather to assemble for yet another grief devotional. This is the daily grief devotional that is strategically designed to help you to do what? Navigate through your grief one day at a time. What is grief? I'm so glad you asked. Grief, my brothers and sisters, is the natural and normal response to loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. Grief is what we feel on the inside. Mourning is how it is expressed on the outside. Therefore, we don't suppress it, but we express it. And that's why we say good morning, because mourning is a good thing. Happy that you're here today. I'm super duper excited about our grief devotional this morning. Hope and pray that it is a blessing to you as well. Come on, let's get to it. Today's grief quote comes from Flora Whitmore, who says the doors we open and close each day decides the lives we live. The doors we open and close each day, they decide the life that we are going to live. Each and every day, we are opening doors and closing doors. You got to understand the life that you live will be contingent upon the doors that you open and close, the doors that you open and close each day. Those are the things that decide the life that we're going to live. So today we're going to talk about on this day 186. I'm so glad you're in the mix. We're going to talk about opening and closing doors. Opening and closing doors is real good today. Let's get into it. A door got closed on us. And guess what, y'all? We didn't like it. Pause right there. A door got closed on us and we did not like it. When you start talking about the loss, the change, the transition that you've experienced in your life, a door got closed and we didn't like it, right? We lost a loved one, our lives have forever changed. Somebody has transitioned, a door got closed, and we didn't like it, especially either how the door got closed or even when the door got closed, right? For some of us, it was so tragic, right? The door got just slammed shut and we didn't like it, or it was so prematurely. There was here in the city of Indianapolis, there was a young girl, 16 years old, who tragically lost her life. Saturday was it Saturday night, Sunday? What's today? Wednesday? What? I mean, just last week, tragically lost her life. 16 years old. I did the funeral of a 15-year-old boy this past Saturday. Tragically lost his life. A young lady I went to school with, her daughter, who was 22, just out having a good time with friends, tragically lost her life. These are young people, right? Sometimes it's not just the door closing, but it's when it gets closed, right? So early, so much more life to live, so tragically. Like, I mean, why is it popping off this way, right? Doors got closed and we didn't like it. And I'm talking to somebody right now. The door got closed. Watch this. And you did not like it. Check this out, y'all. Check this out. Sometimes we're not in charge of which doors get closed, sometimes we're not in charge of which doors get open and which get closed. That can make life feel unfair and painful. And this deals with, I mean, grief, loss, change, and transition is not just the loss of your loved one, it's anything that you go through. Any door in your life that gets closed. Sometimes we're in charge, sometimes we're not. It can be a painful thing to navigate through. But check this out. Sometimes we are in charge of openings and closings. Here it is. When it comes to our grief, we have the option of moving toward our thoughts and feelings. If we feel guilt or regret inside, for example, it's like we have a door labeled guilt. We can choose to approach the door and open it, or we can choose to continue to walk by it, knowing it's there and suffering the pain of it, yet avoiding examining and working through it right there. We have options every single day, right? Or whether we're going to open this door to our feelings and our thoughts, or whether we're going to walk on by and leave it closed, right? This is part of your healing. This is part as you navigate through this grief journey. There is opening and closing doors, right? And for some of us, we have the option. And for some of us, we choose not to open the doors of grieving. We choose not to open the doors of mourning. We choose to walk on by things. We choose to walk by doors that we should be opening. We choose to walk by closed doors that we need to explore. We need to go down. We need to not just feel but reveal. We need to go down this path. We need to ask these questions. We need to navigate through. We need to feel this. We need to experience this. There are doors, right, that we need to feel. We need to experience. We need to go through, right? Open and close doors. I'm going to read it again. Sometimes we are in charge of openings and closings when it comes to our grief. We have the option of moving toward our thoughts and feelings. If we feel guilt or regret inside, for example, it's like we have a door labeled guilt. We can choose to approach the door and open it, or we can choose to continue to walk by it, knowing it's there and suffering the pain of it, yet avoiding examining it and working through it. So the question becomes, what door, if the doors in your life have labels, what doors are you avoiding opening up? What doors are you avoiding opening? Is there a door of guilt that you don't want to open up? Is there a door of regret that you don't want to open up and explore? Is there a door of depression that you are in denial about? This is what you gotta know and understand. How, what you feel is intel. That's information. It's intelligence. It's not intelligence as it's intel into what's going on the inside of you, right? And some of us, we leave those doors closed and we don't want to explore it. You need to explore it. You need to walk down that corridor. You need to ask yourself, why am I feeling this? You need to ask yourself, what is this about, right? And the longer you deny, the more you continue to walk by that door. It's like if there's a brawl or something happening, or is something that's taking place and we don't want to explore it. And so we just keep walking by, and it screams and all this stuff, and there's something going on. There's a storm of brewing. There's stuff going on the inside, but because we don't want to address it, we just continue to walk on by, right? No. What doors are in your life, and what are the labels on those doors, and why is it that you don't want to explore? Why is it you don't want to open it up? Oh, Pastor Duncan, it's going to be too painful. Well, it's too painful for you to stay the same. Yeah, it's the same sermon. I'm going to keep preaching it. There's two type of pains, the pain of change and the pain of remaining the same. Some of you are experiencing the pain of remaining the same because you don't want to go down the corridor of the pain of change. But it's only when you navigate through and deal with this pain of change will things begin to change, right? And there are doors that you don't want to deal with. There are doors in your life that you don't want to deal with, and you continue to walk by them, which ultimately is detrimental and not instrumental for your life. In grief, we can also choose to close some doors if and when we're ready. We can distance ourselves from people who are shaming us about our natural and necessary grief. And after opening a door to a particular thought or feeling, we can sometimes end up closing it behind us for good because we've reconciled it. We can also learn to close the door on cultural misconceptions about grief and mourning. Here it is. This is the final thought. Well, I don't want to get to the final thought yet. There are some doors you need to close. Let me say that. There are some doors you need to close. There are some doors you need to open that you need to explore. You need to walk down that corridor. But there are some doors you need to close. I love this example of what they said. Some of the doors you need to close, we distance ourselves from people who are shaming us about our natural necessary grief. After opening a door to a particular thought or feeling, we can sometimes end up closing it behind us for good because we've reconciled it, right? We can close the door on cultural misconceptions about grief and mourning. We ain't trying to, it's a misconception. I'm closing the door to that. The door that you open, guilt and regret, open it up, walk down that corridor. After you've reconciled it, you can go ahead and shut the door, right? I've dealt with it. I've dealt with the problem. I don't have to continue to stay here. I visited the issue. I had the conversation. I had the discussion. I got what I needed out of it. I can now close this door. The main thing is you got to understand when it comes to grief, there are open and closed doors. There are some doors you need to open. You need to open it. You need to walk down. You need to experience it, whether it's guilt, whether it's regret, whether it's depression, whether it's angry, whatever you're feeling. That's why I continue to tell you and I continue to say grief is what you feel, mourning is what you reveal. And if you're not revealing, that means you're leaving the door closed. You don't want to leave that door closed. You want to do what Silk Sonic said. You want to leave that door open because you want to deal with the issue that's behind that door. That's what's going to lead to your healing, right? You want to get to the bottom of it. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you're dealing with, you want to get to the bottom of it. You want to open the door and walk down that corridor so that you can deal with that right there. That's what you need to do. Some doors you need to close. Here it is. But some door, I bet y'all better pick that mess up. Uh-uh. Some doors you need to close, just right there in my yard. That's what y'all gonna do. I'm sorry, I digress. Some doors you need to close, some doors you need to open, right? There are some doors, so y'all just gonna let the dog go in my yard and y'all not picking none of that up. Okay. All right. Woo! It's taking everything within me not to get up right now and go outside. Some doors you need to close. There are some doors you need to open. Some doors you need to close. Some doors you need to open, right? And that's the thing about grief. As you navigate and you deal with this, there are things you need to explore. There are things you need to deal with. There are things that you've been putting off. That no longer can you put it off. No longer do you need to put it off. You need to explore. You need to deal with it, right? But there are some doors. Now, I'm closing the door. If you don't know how to deal with my grief, you're trying to shame me. I'm closing this door. You don't understand. You don't know. I'm closing this door. The doors that you open, that you walk down, I've dealt with that. I can close this door. The misconceptions of grief, culture. I told you, our culture is not set up for grief, right? Our society, they don't know how to deal with grief and all those misconceptions. Uh, just because you ignorant, and I'm not gonna stay ignorant regarding this. I'm closing the door to that right there. That's what you got to know, and that's what you got to understand. Now to the final thought. Here it is. The grief doors I open and close each day determine my path to healing. The grief doors I open and close each day determine my path to healing. You didn't put yourself in this spot. You didn't choose the things that have happened to you. You may not be responsible for the things that happen to you, but you are responsible for your healing. Did you hear what I said? You may not be responsible for the loss, change, and transition that you've experienced, but you are responsible for your healing. You are responsible for your healing. And check this out. Superman ain't coming, right? So nobody's going to come and rescue you. Nobody, I know you want to have a pity party and you might want to be the victim yourself. Nobody's coming to rescue you. Nobody's coming to save you, right? You are responsible for your life. You are responsible for your healing. And a lot of this stems from the doors you choose and decide to open and close in your life, right? You decide what doors you desire to open and what doors you desire to close. That's what's going to determine the level of healing you'll experience in your grief. Essentially, it's in your hands. Your grief journey is in your hands, right? The more doors you open and explore, the more doors you choose to explore instead of ignore, right? The more doors you choose to close that need to be closed, that will determine the trajectory of how you navigate through this grief journey. So I need you to identify, this is the information. I need you to put some application with it. I need you to identify I need you to identify and label what doors are closed that you need to open. And I need you to put a label on it. What doors are closed? I need you, when we get off here, I need you to do an assessment. What doors are closed that you need to open, and label it, right? The lesson said like guilt or whatever the case may be. I don't want to feel you. You know what it is. You as you sit with your grief, you need to identify what doors are closed that I need to open, right? Also, as you sit with your grief, identify what doors are open that I need to close, right? This is what's going to help you to navigate through your grief journey. Questions, comments, questions, comments that you may have. Questions, comments that you may have. Opening and closing doors. Yes, it's the guilt for me. I see Yvette Williams is slowly being dealt with. Thank you. Hey, slow progress is better than no progress. That's good. Keep your door closed right now. Avoid opening your door. I'm gonna go get that neighbor a piece of my mind. That's what I'm gonna do. You know good and well. You know the unwritten rules. You know what you're supposed to do. You don't do that in people's yard. Questions, comments, identify and label the doors that are closed that you need to open. Also identify what doors are open that need to be closed. Period. I need y'all to do that. This takes some time. I need you to don't rush through this process. I really need you to set aside some time. Get you some coffee or tea, go to a coffee shop, find your little nook in your house, sit on your porch, do what you got to do. Get your notebook. You should have a grief notebook and write or do a column down the middle. Doors I need to close or doors I need to open and then doors I need to close, right? And put a label on it and just make you a list and start to explore. Open them up and walk down that corridor. You need to explore it. Exactly. That's all I'm saying. You got a dog, pick up behind it. That's all I'm saying. I'm so disgusted. I digress. Well, y'all don't have a lot of questions. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I thought the lesson was real good today. I hope it was beneficial to you. I hope you take it another further and make sure you take the time to really make out those lists so that you can close the doors that need to be closed and opens the one that needs to be open. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. Y'all hang in there. Look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. Good morning.
Uh, uh. Good morning.